We actually accidentally started a restaurant. We're really proud of what we do. It's a gritty life. It's a hard life. But we've never looked back and wish that we were still living in the suburbs.
Name all your girls.
Mary Frances, Mary Marjorie, Mary Jane, and Mary Teresa.
Rodeo time. Welcome to the Luke Branquinho Show. Our next guest is somebody that I've followed for many years and got to meet her before we moved out of California, and is just an amazing story. So Mary Heffernan from Five Mary's Ranch, thank you for joining us.
Well, thanks. I'm so honored to be here, and I'm glad we finally made this happen.
Yeah, we tried to get you out in Vegas, but your schedule's so busy. I mean, with the four girls going every which way, Brian and you, seems like, and obviously with three boys, we're not quite as busy like that, but you get pulled so thin in different directions.
Yeah, you really do. And, you know, we're all in on rodeo. So as you know, rodeo is traveling all over the place with these high school kids, but it's such a great experience for them. And we do feel pretty fortunate that all four girls are all rodeo all the time. You know, if there was one cheerleader, it would really kind of screw things up.
Yeah, I never even thought about that. Wow. Yeah. Then you would really be going different directions. Yeah,
it would be a divide and conquer. But right now, you know, it's hard to get off the ranch. But when you have such an important thing for your family, that's that family time, the kids are making memories, they're learning lifelong skills. It makes you push do that extra few things, hire somebody to help run the ranch, forces you to get off the ranch, spend time together as a family. And, you know, we're kind of outgrowing rigs and everything with number of horses we have to take.
Right.
And we're so set on that family time, traveling together, the windshield time after a rodeo, hearing the kids talk about their highs and lows, their worst run of the day, their best run of the day. That's really why you do it.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to touch on that, but for all you folks just watching or starting to watch, check out Mary's Instagram and her social media, because it's absolutely amazing to see those stories of how you guys get up and down the road with all the girls and all the horses. But let's go back to, you know, many years ago, Silicon Valley family that decided we're out of here, we're going up Northern California and start a ranch.
We sure did. So I was born and raised in Menlo Park, which is now called Silicon Valley. When I grew up, you know, it was a totally different place. It was much more like a small town. But I met my husband there. He's from, we're both sixth generation agricultural families, but he went to law school. His dad was a farmer and said, hey, this is really hard to make any money and support a family farming. So why don't you go do something where you can get a solid income, and then maybe you come back to agriculture. So he was a lawyer at a big firm in a high rise in Silicon Valley, wearing a suit every day. And we were married. I've always kind of been an entrepreneur. So I had a couple of small businesses that I'd started. You know, I'm a big, I see opportunity, I jump on it. I create a business out of it. But we had four little girls in rapid succession. My oldest, Francie, was still 4 when my fourth was born. It's all kind of a blur. And we actually accidentally started a restaurant, which is really not a smart thing to do.
Accidentally, huh?
Accidentally. We love good food. We're both from food families. And we love being with our family and taking our kids out to eat. And, you know, when you have a lot of little kids, you walk into a restaurant and they're just like, please no. Or the kids menu, you know, it's like chicken fingers and pizza, and that's all you get. So we had this vision to create a restaurant with really good quality food, sourced well, great wine and beer, cocktail list, but a welcoming place for families. And so we built that. We built this really cool restaurant. It had a playroom in the back that had a fish tank that parents could see the kids, but the kids couldn't see their parents through it because they were just looking at fish. Great menu, you know, healthy food for kids. And we were on the quest for the perfect ground beef, for the perfect burger. We learned about how important the dry aging process was, how important genetics were, how important feed was. And, you know, it's not just put cattle on a field and you get good beef. There is a science to it. And so we were looking for some place where we could source beef year round, super high quality, dry aged. And we couldn't find, you know, it's a hard thing to do. Most ranches are cow-calf, or they do something different. So we said, you know, Brian and I have always been go big or go home people. And we just said, let's try this ourselves. And we found some land. And I think, you know, in the back of our head, we're like, yes, this is our ticket to get out of the Bay Area on the weekends.
Right.
Kids can be running around. was totally naive to think that we could do both lives, So we start this ranch. We're like, we'll find a ranch manager who, can do this for us when we're not there. And we'll find a restaurant manager who can do this for us when we're not here. It did not work.
And that's the ranch that you guys are on now.
It is.
So, and that's about 3.5, 4 hour trip? Is it?
6.5.
Yeah, I was off a couple hours. Yeah. So yeah, just go up on the weekend, 6.5. I mean, that's a half a day travel.
With 4 car seats.
Right.
Yeah. So we loved being on the ranch, but after 6 weekends going up there and having, restaurant disasters, the hood's broken, restaurants filling up with smoke, who do we call? Well, Brian's the only one who gets on the roof to fix the hood when it's broken. So we're like, this is not going to work. But we just looked at each other driving back, leaving the ranch to go back to our old life, as we call it. And we said, it feels like we're leaving home to go somewhere where we don't want to spend all our time. We said it was the easiest decision we'd ever made. We just said, yes, we're doing this. We're moving our family there. It was hard to unwind all that. We had to sell these businesses. I had to let go of this beautiful house that I thought I would live in forever to move into a 760 square foot cabin with no heat, one tiny bathroom. The girls all slept in one bed until I built them bunks in this teeny tiny closet. But it was the best decision we've ever made. We've never regretted it for a minute. Our kids became overnight more capable, more self-sufficient, learned so many skills on the ranch. Brian and I, we work really hard, but we say nothing's easy. And if it were, it wouldn't be worth it. So we're really proud of what we do. It's a gritty life. It's a hard life, but we've never looked back and wish that we were still living in the suburbs.
Moved up there full time. This is where Five Mary's Farms kind of took off from there, right?
Yeah, Brian came up with the name for the ranch. So I'm Mary, obviously, and our 4 girls are all named Mary. They go by nicknames, but we have grandmothers on both sides. We're both from big Irish Catholic families, and there was a lot of Marys. So we were Five Mary's Farms when we started. We were a little bit more. We had little kids, and yes, we're cattle ranchers, but we're raising sheep because if you have a ranch, Mary's got to have a little lamb.
Yeah.
Chickens. We were selling eggs. Farms felt more in line with what we were doing. We sell our beef, pork, and lamb direct to consumer customers all over the country. We have 125,000 customers now. We learned through the process, and then along the way, we realized how difficult it is to process. It's kind of the Achilles heel for ranchers. Where are you going to get your meat USDA processed so you can sell by the tomahawk steak and not just a whole share? And we struggled with it for years and years, and then finally said, you know what? We've got to do this ourselves. We can't lean into this cattle business and be at the mercy of a processor to say, I bumped your dates. So we built our own USDA on-ranch harvest. We worked with Temple Grandin. It was like an amazing experience. The smallest project she's ever worked on. Said she was the one she was most excited about. So we harvest 12 to 15 steers a week for Five Marys, and then we'll do about 10 to 20% for other local ranches as well. And we harvest on the ranch, and then we built a USDA butchery in town where we do all of our dry aging and hanging and cutting. And then we ship every cut direct from our little ranch store to customers. So no wholesale, none of it's going anywhere. We move every pound every week, thanks to social media and telling our story and connecting with customers.
Just hearing your story has been amazing for me, and getting to watch it for the last several years, and how you guys spend time with the girls. You're on the road, you're on the ranch.
So Francie and I are going to walk the sheep in. She's starting out. Got to go to the farthest corner and get the stragglers, and then walk everybody in.
But again, watching your social media with you and Brian out feeding the cattle in blizzard type weather. And I mean, the life you came from to the life you have now, I'm not saying that wasn't hard work, what you were doing before, but this is on a whole different level.
Mm-hmm. It is. It's gritty and hard. And, we're out there in the elements, and a lot of people think, oh, California, you've got great weather and, you go to the beach, and we are up there in the mountains. It was 4 degrees last week. We've got snow, we've got ice. We're kind of right at the Oregon border. So it's a different kind of California than a lot of people think about, but it's a great place to raise a family and raise cattle. And when we decided to do this, we said, part part of the reason we moved up there full time was we didn't want somebody else raising our cattle. Like we are so passionate about the quality and the care for our cattle. And it's what we do. You know, we're not cattle ranchers that are going to sit on our porch and watch somebody else feed our cows. So, my husband, Brian, is an absolute machine. He is up at 4 a.m. every morning. He's the one feeding his cattle twice a day. You know, since we finish, we've got everybody from our breeding cows to our fat cattle. We feed a barley and alfalfa ration. So we've got a great grain finish marbling. And he knows every animal on that ranch and what's most important to feed and keeping everybody alive. Pigs and sheep really threw a wrench in things. I was like, come on.
We walk everybody in from the pastures and they all kind of mix up, the mamas and the babies. It's kind of a whole mob, this flock that comes into the barn. And you can hear it's really noisy in here. It's not noisy like that all night. They are trying to pair up again, and the mamas are trying to find their babies. The babies are trying to find their mamas.
He loves raising pigs. Sheep, depends on the day. We joke, he calls them mama's damn sheep, because when the kids were little, they'd always get out and he'd be like, your sheep are out again. And the kids just said, our mama's damn sheep out again. But anyway, we only have one ranch hand. And other than that, Brian and I and the girls do everything. You know, we've designed our chute and our squeeze and our cattle operation so that it's safe for the kids because they're the ones helping us.
You go in just like this, and his neck right here, just like that. And Jaylee will watch you, and then you steer. Hold it. You're going to do it. Okay? Put it in your hand. Get it in there. Right under the skin. Now squeeze it, just like that. Can you do that? That's all you got to do. Okay?
There's give and take. You know, December, we AI all our cattle, so November and December, it's in the suck. You know, we're out there in the rain doing the AI protocol. The kids are just drenched and miserable. But the day we finish AI, we pack up and go to the NFR. And that's, you know, they understand, like, I'm part of this family. It comes with a lot of perks, like being able to rodeo and being able to do fun things like go to the NFR. But I got to put the time in and put the work into our family operation. And I think that's really important balance for the kids. I don't know if you saw, we did a ranch camp where we brought city kids onto the ranch and did like a 3-day immersion.
And they look at the brand on that animal and they say, okay, that is your animal. You can harvest it. We have to do this paperwork, identify how many boys, how many girls we have.
And it was amazing. I mean, it was like really formative for these kids. And we shared a lot of it on social media. And one of the videos that I shared has like 12 million views. And people are like, this is what America needs.
Right.
But you know, he's a great teacher and he's so patient and he's great with his girls, but he's really good with boys. And so we were like, you know what, we should get some city boys out here and have Brian be like, all right, you're getting up in the morning, you're feeding cows with me. And we actually had these kids. We had 12 or 14 kids. We had a pig that we harvested. So we took it to our neighbors who has a good, like, we didn't do it USDA. So we did more of a ranch kill. Right. You know, dispatched the pig right there in front of the kids. It was a really like powerful experience. We had them go through the whole process, taking it to our butchery. They cut their own pork chops. They made their own sausage to take home to their families. We hiked them to the top of the mountain. They had to cut firewood. We gave them the tools, said, here, make a fire, cook your own dinner. And it was like really cool to see the transformation in these kids. And that's, you know, what's so cool about social media is, maybe you're only impacting 12 or 14 kids at this camp, but you share these skills and you share these stories. And so many more people are impacted and maybe inspired to go get their kids an experience like that or do something that's a little more, hey, this let's actually talk about or go see where your food comes from, not just pull it off the grocery store shelves.
You guys know what that is? Ribs. Bacon. Oh, bacon. Those are slabs of bacon just out of the smoker. Yeah.
Well, and here's the truth about it. A lot of those kids they had no clue where meat came from. Like you said, they just think we go get meat comes from the grocery store. They don't know how it's raised, butchered or you know, finished, butchered, and how it gets to those shelves. And I think that is so cool. You guys did that. Not only those 14 kids you had there, they went and told all their friends. So, I mean, it's maybe you just had a small group, but what the impact it had on them, their friends, their family, I think obviously is bigger than any one person could even imagine. Then what you know, obviously posted on social media and letting the world see about it. And again, I think that's where our America needs to get back to, those type of values.
Yeah, totally. It's really powerful. And that's what I love. Social media gets such a bad rap, but it is such a powerful tool to educate people and to really feel that connection.
Guess what's happening right now? Let's see. 5 Mary's Custom Meat Co.
I think that's why we sell, we can't keep our ground beef on the shelves. We have to like slow our customers roll with our ground beef because we run out of it every week. And that's a lot of it is because I've had to work really hard to teach our customers, like, you want ground beef because guess what? Half of this steer, there's 2 tri-tip on here, but there's 250 pounds of ground beef. So what do you want to make for dinner?
Right.
But, it's also just when they feel that connection to us and they see how hard we are working out there. It used to be a lot more common. You'd see your neighbor raising a cow and he'd maybe sell quarter shares to his neighbors. And you'd feel good about the connection and the trust that, that meat was fed right and cared for right. But fortunately, unfortunately, the urban rural divide is a lot bigger now. Fortunately, with social media, we can say, hey, here's a window into this world of agriculture that we do, and sharing our story, showing you what we do. Those people they trust you more, they feel that connection, and they really appreciate where that food's coming from.
We rented this trailer because we brought our horse trailer that we have to haul around to rodeos. So it's awesome. It's a bunk room. I'm going to give you a little tour.
You guys are in Arizona.
Yes, we're in
the
Wickenburg.
Girls roping.
Yep, whole operation. We've got we had 6 horses, 6-horse trailer we brought the trainer down. So then we had to rent a trailer down here to stay in. And then we went to a bull and gelding sale a couple weeks before, and I might've made an impulse purchase on a head horse. I don't rope, Luke, but I really liked this head horse. And my girls are pretty happy about it. It turns out it's a great horse. So we have 8 horses down here. So we have a friend who brought his trailer, his son, their 3 horses, 2 of ours. So it's a whole operation down here, but we're here for 3 or 4 weeks. We're just loving it. It's muddy and a mess at home. And our kids are pretty hardcore. I mean, they were out there every day in freezing temps working their horses, but it's good for the kids. It's good for the horses to be out and get a little sunshine.
So it's kind of a little reprieve from the ranch for the kids. They kind of like, hey, it's a vacation. We get to go jackpot, win money. So have they tried to talk you into learning to rope?
Well, I used to play polo, so I'm not like totally adverse to the horses, but I don't know how to throw a rope. So I'm going to work on that one first.
So I didn't realize you used to play polo. For some good friends, Memo and Megan Gracita in the valley where we lived, they invited us out to come play polo.
Yeah.
I have never ridden in an English type saddle. So you want to talk about everybody laughing at a big bulldog and stirrups. I felt like my knees were in my chin. That is a whole different ball game right there.
Mm-hmm. It is. It was really fun to play when I was single. It's a fun sport. You travel all over the world. I played in Argentina. I played in Palm Beach. I actually played with Carlos Cressida. I played on some of his horses. You go somewhere and they're, here, hop on a horse. People say it's like your passport to travel the world, but it's dangerous. It's a dangerous sport. And once I started having kids, now I'll get on a horse every now and then, but I feel like I got to keep the wheels on this bus. Like Brian's flying back and forth to ranch while I'm here with the girls. I can work remotely, but I can't get hurt. So I really enjoy watching the girls now, and maybe someday I'll pick it up. But for now, it's not on my bingo card.
Did I see you have a photographer in the family too now?
Yes, my 12-year-old Tessa. I just got a new camera with a great lens for this trip. I want to try to get back to taking more photos. I feel like the world's so video now. I'm like, I want some old school photos. So I got a new camera. She asked to pick it up, and I said, it's an expensive camera. You're 12. Well, I showed her a few things. She put the neck strap on, and all of a sudden she's like an amazing rodeo photography. She started a Instagram account called Sharpshooter Photography, and she's already got people down here in Wickenburg buying photos from her for $5 a photo.
Wow. You have raised some entrepreneurs. That is awesome. All right, Mary, we're going to do a little rapid fire question. How did you get your name?
From my grandmother.
How did you decide on your kids' names?
From their great-grandmothers.
Okay, name all your girls.
Mary Frances, Mary Marjorie, Mary Jane, and Mary Teresa.
Oh, wow.
They were all born on the 18th of different months. So people said, you have no faith in your husband. Same birthday, same names.
Favorite rodeo event?
Breakaway.
Favorite NFR event in the Thomason map?
Barrel racing.
That was pretty good, Mary. Those were rapid, and you got them, especially the girls' names. Like I said, if somebody asked me my boys' names, I've been like, the first one is Mary. Again, thank you for coming on. I feel like there's going to be more in the future for the Luke Branquinho Show and Mary, because this was so fun. Hey, you want to see more in-depth details on the Luke Branquinho Show? Make sure you like and subscribe.